Hey there, let's keep going with our Google Ads course. Alright, today we're diving into UTMs. We'll break down what UTM parameters actually are, where you need to plug them in, if they're even necessary, and which parameter handles what. Check it out, I'm in Google Ads editor right now, and I've got a campaign selected. At the campaign level, if I scroll down a bit, there's a section called URL options and tracking template. This is exactly where you add your UTM code. If I jump to the ad group level and scroll down, you'll find the same tracking template field. You can drop UTMs there too. If I go even deeper, you can even add a unique UTM to every single ad. Now, you can do more than just UTMs there, but we're focusing on them because they're super common, though honestly, lately they're being used less and less. Let's ask Google, what is UTM tracking? UTM tracking is a method for tracking the effectiveness of digital marketing campaigns by adding a snippet of code called UTM parameters to the end of a URL. Basically, as marketers, it lets us track exactly how our ads are performing. So why don't I use them by default? And why did I say they're optional in the earlier lessons? Here's the deal. All the analysis we do happens right inside the Google Ads dashboard. Google already knows exactly where a person came from, what keywords they typed, the time they clicked. It knows everything. We can easily analyze all that info right in our standard Google Ads account. A few lessons back, we did all our reporting perfectly fine without any UTMs at all. You really only need these parameters if you're doing analysis on third-party tools. If we're running ads on Google and analyzing them right there, or using Google Analytics, Google is great at passing info between its own services without any extra help. But if you want to track your ads in an external tool, like say you need to send data to your CRM, that's where UTM saves the day. In that case, the CRM is an outside system. That's when we plug these codes in. When they hit an external analytics tool, that tool uses the parameters to figure out exactly where the traffic is coming from. It only sees what we've actually written in that code. If you don't know why you need it, there's zero point in hunting down random UTMs and pasting them in. That's just total nonsense. You won't be able to analyze anything if you're just adding random stuff. Now, let's break down what the different UTM parameters actually do. I'm hopping onto our site and I'll open a notepad with one of the most common UTM setups. Why the site? Just so you see the address, webinailstudio.com. I'll copy the code and add it to the URL. When you click on add links, you'll often see this long tail in the browser bar. It starts with a question mark, then UTM, and a bunch of messy stuff. We're going to figure out what that actually is. I'm going to line this up vertically so I can walk you through every single element. It'll be much easier to visualize this way. First up, what is LPURL? This is how every UTM in Google Ads starts. It's a variable that automatically pulls in our landing page URL. That's why we can add this to any campaign, no matter what site we're running. It'll just grab the actual URL. After that, we always put a question mark. That's just the rule. It won't work without it. Just remember that. UTM_source. Honestly, you can write whatever you want here. It's totally up to you. But as a rule, source is the traffic source. It could be Facebook, Instagram, whatever. If you're using a bunch of different platforms, you use these UTMs, so your CRM can tell you where the traffic came from and which one converts better. It lets you see the full picture across all sources, not just Google Ads. You can see how much a lead costs from Google versus Facebook and so on. You can do this in Google Analytics too, but we're not touching that in this course. I just want you to get why these UTMs exist. UTM_medium. Here, we're being more specific about the type of traffic. For search ads, we write search. If it's the display network, we might write GDN remark, GDN keywords, or GDN audience. For now, let's stick with a classic search setup, so I'll leave it as search. You get the idea? Set it up so it makes sense for your own reporting later. UTM_campaign. This one is super simple. The name says it all. It's meant to show exactly which campaign the user clicked from. You can type the name manually, but then you'd have to do that for every single campaign. Instead, we use standard variables like campaign ID. Google Ads editor doesn't show this ID for some reason, but you can find it in the Google Ads web interface. If you turn on the campaign ID column, I'll show you where it is. Click Columns, select Modify Columns, then Attributes, and check the box next to Campaign ID. Hit Apply. Now we have the Campaign ID column. This number will automatically fill into Campaign ID, and you'll be able to match those digits to your campaign. Moving on. UTM_content. Here, I used to put the group ID and the creative. I say used to because I don't really use it much anymore. The logic is the same as before. Only here I'm using a vertical bar to send two parameters at once. You can totally do that if it fits your situation. If you don't need a specific parameter, just delete it. I'll do that here as an example. UTM_term. This is the keyword that triggered the ad. This is probably the most useful part of the whole thing. Just remember, it passes the actual keyword you're bidding on, not the user's actual search query. Some people get those mixed up. If you need to, you can add your own custom UTMs. There are tons of options and variables you can use, but these 5 are the main ones that every analytics system supports. Now, let's put the whole code back together. I'll highlight and copy it. Then, I'll head to the campaign settings under URL options and paste it into the tracking template field. I'll expand it a bit so you can see the whole thing on the screen. Since we made this code dynamic, meaning it pulls in IDs for the campaign and everything else automatically, you don't need to add it to every ad group or ad. This template will naturally flow down the chain to everything inside this campaign. You'll get all the data for whichever ad the user clicked on. Keep in mind this specific code is for search campaigns. It won't really work for the display network. Let's tweak the UTM. We'll change search to display or GDN. I've already explained that. And keyword is pretty useless for display. So I'll change that to UTM_term equals target ID. This parameter will pass the audience ID, the placement ID, or the keyword ID. Google will plug in whatever value was the deciding factor for that specific ad auction. Now we just put it into one line, copy and paste. Done. This is just scratching the surface of what you can do with UTMs. But once you know how they work, you can take apart any code and add whatever parameters you need. So that's the deal. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Up until now, we've been using manual bidding, so you could see how pricing and settings work. In the next lesson, we're going to dive into automated bidding strategies and when you should actually use them. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next lesson. Think bigger and make money.